Welcome to a tour of the Reseller portal. First, let's look at the dashboard. This will show you each of your enterprises, plus some quick stats for each. You can see the domain they registered under, what services are enabled for that enterprise, the status of direct routing setup, the SBC regions enabled, and whether or not they are in use, which is indicated by red or green text. You can also see the user limit set for the enterprise. If you click the action items, you can edit the initial settings that were configured when the enterprise was first added, including user limits, SBC regions, and enabling additional services. This page is especially helpful for retrieving the invitation code, which is necessary each time an additional direct route is configured. If the global admin loses their initial registration email, this is how you get that code back. If you click on an enterprise, you can see largely the same thing that they would see from their own dashboard. There are details for the direct routing and application deployment, plus a list of all registered users. From the sidebar, you can access additional setup options depending on which services the customer is using. In this video, the customer has all three services enabled, so every possible menu option is shown here. If an enterprise is not using a particular service, the menu options related to that service will not appear. Under PBX Management, you will get a list of existing PBX configurations for the customer. Most customers only have one PBX location, but it is possible to add multiple. If any changes need to be made, click the action icon. This will give you options for editing basic settings, single sign-ons, and feature codes. Basic settings will take you to the same menu that is used to initially add a PBX. If a mistake was made when entering the domains, the voicemail feature code changes, or the proxy port needs to be updated, this is where you do it. If you are a NetSapiens customer, like shown in this video, this is also where you will access the advanced settings to enable API integration. If the PBX you are using allows for a single sign-on portal, TeamMate can have that portal appear in the Teams app. Use this menu to enter the credentials to enable that feature. Clicking Manage Feature Codes will bring you to a list of all feature codes that are already configured for the PBX location, with the option to edit them. You can add more codes either individually or in bulk. To add a code individually, you will need to provide the code, name it, specify whether or not it requires any input, and specify whether or not it needs to be accessible during a call. The bulk app option will give you a sample CSV file to download and fill out with all of the same information that is on the individual screen. While it is possible for resellers to upload user data, anytime a reseller adds or modifies users, the global admin for the enterprise will have to sync the changes later. Still, it's a good way to take the bulk of the hard work off the plate of the admin to give them a seamless experience. The instructions for adding users are the same at the reseller level as they are at the enterprise level, except for the need for an admin to sync afterwards, so please watch the provisioning process video for more information about options under user management. To add an enterprise, you will need the name of the company, the email address of the Microsoft Global Administrator, decide if you want to limit the number of licenses available to the customer, decide which services the enterprise will have access to, and which SBC regions will be enabled. If it's a PBX account, you will need to select the type PBX. Filling out this form sends an email to the global admin, and they can start the registration process from there. See our provisioning video for further instructions on that process. There are a number of reports available to help keep a bird's eye view of your customers. Viewing all direct routes can be a good way to see all of your customers that have at least completed initial setup. The Teams application will give you a list of all enterprises that have launched the custom app, and this can be a really good way to narrow down your customer list when troubleshooting app errors. Viewing user registrations will give you a full list of every user from every enterprise, and that list is searchable, so this page is a great way to find a particular user quickly. The activity feed is troubleshooting gold. You can get a really great sense of what stage of setup each of your customers are at, see who is actively working on provisioning, see any error messages they might be receiving. You can access these activity feeds on each individual enterprise if you like by clicking the bell icon, but having a combined list of all of your enterprises can be really helpful. The summary billing report will give you a simple list of each enterprise and the number of licenses they are using. The detailed billing report will give you one row per user, listing the enterprise, Teams username, and PBX username. Each of these reports can be downloaded as a CSV file. Each reseller has the option to set up branding options and customizing email templates, but there is an entire video just about branding, so see that one for details. The Edit Reseller page gives you the chance to rename a reseller. And finally, there is the admin management section. You can add multiple people from the reseller to the TeamMate connector portal to better facilitate work distribution and collaboration, and of course, remove them as turnover and changes in responsibilities require.